Remember Bobby Brown, the chick from Warrant's Cherry Pie that you can never get out of your head? Take a good look. This is Dirty Rocker Boys. And if you're an 80s music, hair metal fan like I am, here's the back. You gotta read this. I mean, you find out about the craziest shit ever. Now, before I get into my review, let me read you a couple things. I mean, they're disturbing. For one, you're gonna really love the explicit nature of this book. It's so absolutely revealing, from her sleeping with, you know, a ton of guys like Leonardo DiCaprio, Tommy Lee, of course Janie Lane, who she was married to and who she had a kid with. I mean, the stuff in this book is just, you can't put it down, guys. I mean, it's just insane. And it's all about these rock stars that she dated and, you know, basically banged. And it's got just intimate details. But I gotta give you a little preview because you're not going to believe it if I told you. So let me just read a couple things. Let's go to Leonardo DiCaprio. Let me give you a little preview of this. And guys, I'll have a link in the description where you can buy this book at a cheap price. But you're going to be, I mean, it's one of the most entertaining books I've read in years. Here's a little snippet of Leonardo DiCaprio's story. Leo rolled a rubber on, laid back and closed his eyes. My cue to get started. I kissed his belly and drew him close to me. I began to lick and kiss his gargantuan penis. I tried to put it in my mouth. I could barely breathe. My jaw locked. My eyeballs bulged, so I went back to licking it. Unfortunately, the latex tasted like the inside of a balloon, bitter, reminiscent of trips to the dentist. Yeah, so Leo, let me just skip to this part. Leo, I'm sorry, but this condom tastes terrible. I don't think I can do it. Leo pulled me down next to him and kissed me sweetly. You're right. That does taste kind of funny. I pulled him on top of me. His eyes stayed open, gazing into mine. His brow furrowed a little as he eased himself into me. I inhaled sharply. It was Titanic.
I'm the king of the world!
We were about 1 minute into the love making. I waited a few beats. I pulled him close again and he squeaked, "No, no, not yet." I looked at Leo's perfect face as he grimaced, hoping to make it past the 2-minute mark. He was a unicorn. Rare, innocent, and horny. Me, on the other hand, I'd been engaged, married, and had given birth. I needed a man, not a man-child. Oh man, that's just a preview of Leonardo DiCaprio's story. Now let me get to something else here. Yeah, so in fact, you find out exactly how Tommy and Pamela Anderson meet, and it's actually through Bobby Brown. A month later, I was home alone, tweaking and scrapbooking like a weirdo, when I got a call from a girlfriend of mine called Linda. She had a few of her friends, Zim Zum from Marilyn Manson's band, and a guy called Ferry had run into Dave at Crazy Girls, our favorite strip bar. We're going back to his house right now, and he said, "We should invite you," she said. This is that Linda. "Are you fucking kidding me?" I said, dropping the super glue. "Yes, I'm so there." Half an hour later, I was at Dave's doorstep, ringing the doorbell. A few moments later, the door opened. It was Dave holding a rifle, butt naked, except for a pair of sunglasses, a feather boa, and a depraved smile. You're the one who tried to get my attention at Jones, right?" "Right," I spurted, trying to act cool. I was so embarrassed, though. Nah, that's a side note. She tried to get his attention like a couple months prior or something. So I'm downstairs with this groupie chick right now, said Dave, matter-of-factly. We're taking Polaroids. She's kind of a star fucker. You mind waiting until I'm done? I'll put a video on for you in the meantime. So Dave, downstairs with a groupie chick, asked Bobby to sit there on the couch while he puts a video in. Now check this out. This is how sad. Now if I was Bobby, I'd get the fuck out of there, right? But no, he led me to the couch in the living room where Zim Zum, fucking name, and Fairy and a couple other people were hanging out. This guy from Marilyn Manson must be a real nut job too, and this Fairy guy. Then he squatted in front of the TV, put a video in the VCR, and pressed play before leaving the room. Before me was a series of images showing Dave Navarro jerking off in slow motion. I mean, that scene is haunting, right? I watched mesmerized until this strange man ejaculated on screen. Right on cue, Dave came back in the room with the star fucker in tow. I knew she was the star fucker because Dave had put a sticker on her shoulder that said star fucker. She also happened to be my friend Linda, the girl who had called me and invited me to the party, told me that he wanted me to come, right? Before I even had a chance to say hello, he walked Linda to the door and showed her out. She didn't look too happy about it. By this point, he was wearing skin-tight lavender leggings, a leopard print hat, and a boa, no underwear. Bobby, would you like to look at these photos? He held out the Polaroids he had just shot of himself having sex with my friend Linda. That's okay, I said, mildly horrified. After he's, trying to show these Polaroids to Bobby Brown of him having sex with this Linda, which was her friend. Bobby, you should have left. What the fuck were you thinking? Dave led me to the kitchen as he brewed some green tea. So did you like the video, he asked? Oh yeah, I said without skipping a beat. I feel like I really know you now, he laughed. Know you now, he laughed. Yeah, it was really cute that you tried to get my attention at Jones, he said, casually picking up the toaster, tying the cord around his arm, and shooting up. Like it was no big deal. What are you doing, I gasped. Needles make me cringe. He ignored me. We're going to get married one day, Bobby, he said, and my heart froze. Well, I haven't had sex in like 4 years, so good luck trying. Yeah, this is when she was like celibate. She didn't have sex. I mean, she has sex all the time, but she went on a 4 or 5 year kind of no sex streak, which is really crazy for her when you read all this shit she's done. So, and then he goes on, while he's shooting up drugs in his arm, he thinks this is pretty rock star. So I thought it would be really rock star and cool if I fucked myself with a dildo on stage, he said. So I'm playing my guitar groove with a dildo sticking out my ass, pointing at the crowd. And I figure I'm going to turn around. Everybody's going to be all like, check him out. He's so awesome. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Dave, if you're watching, which I'm sure you're not watching this fucking, video, you're a fucking sick bastard. Nobody wants to see a dildo sticking out your ass. I mean, what the hell, dude? I mean, what is wrong with these people? There's also a few photos in here. I don't know if you can see them. me get up here. I'll give you a brief synopsis of the photos. That's her. That's her dad. That's her mom. Yearbook, I guess. That's her brother. I didn't see much of her. Oh yeah, there's her brother right there. There's her brother's mentioned a little bit in the book. Yeah, so there's Jani Lane, you know, from Warrant. He's dead now. Rest in peace, Jani. I love your music. Warrant always had a soft part of my heart. I like Warrant. Here is Tommy and I love to smoke after getting down and dirty. Picture of her and Tommy Lee. Tommy and I in bed in Cancun shortly after the thing we did best, sex. She doesn't hide anything. Trust me, this book is unbelievable. You know, one thing is though, if my parents had put out a book like this and I saw and I read this, I mean, this is disturbing. I kind of feel sorry for her daughter Taylor, and I guess he's got a couple other kids or whatever. I mean, to read her daughter Taylor reads this, I mean, it's disturbing. It's really disturbing. I think this book should be called Bobby Brown, Too Much Information. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an entertaining book, but man, I wouldn't want to be a family member reading this. There's some crazy stuff in there. So, I didn't go over a lot of the other rock stars that are mentioned in this book, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of celebrities. There's even there's a little scene in here, not a scene, but a story about how her and her friend went over to Kevin Costner's house and how she ended up catching his bedroom on fire. I mean, there are so many celebrities, like just the different sick-ass celebrities that hit on her all the time. I mean, the celebrities are vultures, man. I mean, they think they can get any woman because they're a celebrity, a rock star, whatever, and it's kind of sick, you know, knowing that they got so much power because they got all this money and shit. But you know, it's a fascinating read. You really get the inside information on Hollywood and some of the stars in there, because there's not just rock stars. There's other stars in here. But oh yeah, one thing I forgot to read, which I find it so funny because, you know, I really like Skid Row's music, you know, back in the day, but reading a lot of shit about Sebastian Bach, and I saw him live, you know, this past year, but you know, him dissing on Stryper and Michael Sweet really pissed me off. So I wanted to read Reality Check Sebastian. Stryper packs a club. You do not. I was like, is this all Sebastian can muster up? I mean, a live local act gets 3 times the crowd. Sebastian Bach comes in town. I mean, I don't know if there was even 50 people there. It was embarrassing. And he has the audacity to say that Stryper sucks. Sorry, dude. Stryper still has it. They've never lost it, and they keep getting better with age. You are not wine. You do not get better with age, okay? They do. So anyway, this is great, right? Sebastian Bach tries to get on Bobby Brown. This is so, I mean, it's disgusting, but I have to read this. Sebastian's eyes scanned the room, resting on me. Oh shit. He walked toward me, grabbing a handful of ice cubes from a champagne bucket on his way over, then stuffing the ice down my shirt. I almost gave birth on the spot. She was pregnant at the time, and he's wanting it, right? Hi, I'm Sebastian, he said. Will you watch my band tonight? That's how he would talk, right? He had a giant cocaine booger hanging out of his nose. Sick. I stood side stage watching Skid Row play, mesmerized. At one point, Sebastian walked over and spat at me. Classy dude, right? Which I believe was his way of saying hi. At the after party, he was all over me like a rash. Frankly, after months of rejection from Janie, the attention felt good. Suddenly, Sebastian pushed me up against the wall of the dressing room, his hard crotch pushing up against the unborn child in my belly. I glanced around the room, but everyone was too wasted to notice. When he stuck his tongue down my throat, I thought I might gag. But I didn't push him away. A few minutes later, he came up for air. I want to see you again, he slurred. Sebastian, this isn't a good time, I said, pointing at my belly. Now, this is great, right? This is how classy Sebastian is. The next night, Guns N' Roses played again, and against my better judgment, I went back. I spotted Sebastian and went over to say hello. Oh, hey, Bobby, he said, looking busy. Meet Maria, my wife. I held out my hand, smiling sweetly, feeling like an idiot. I thought about Janie on the road. I imagined the number of unpregnant, uncomplicated groupies he was probably surrounded by at the very moment. My heart felt heavy with a mix of guilt, jealousy, and resentment. Nice to meet you, Maria. You really missed a great show last night. Oh man, she should have just told Maria, yeah, your husband had his tongue down my throat. And I mean, it's just embarrassing. These guys, they just cheat like there's no business. And there's a nice little scene with this scene or story with Vince Neil, who hit on her right while his wife was across the room. Yeah. He's hitting on Bobby Brown, and Bobby's like, where's your wife, you know? And he says, like, I don't know, you know, like, and she's like right over at like a few tables away. Now, these guys, Bobby and Vince Neil's ex-wife, they're, of course, divorced now. They're still like best friends, so that's kind of cool. Oh, it was funny, too, because they were trying to get her, they offered her an album contract. They were looking for some blonde, good-looking chick, didn't have to sing, and they offered her this was Jive Records, this record deal, right? And she ended up getting pregnant with Janie's, you know, with Janie. So they ended up, she ended up, okay, let me just read this. They withdrew their offer of a deal. It took them a few years, but eventually they found the unpregnant Southern pop princess they had been looking for. Her name was Britney Spears. It's funny how they found Britney Spears, who cannot sing. If you ever hear her live, she sucks. She has to sing under a track and lip sync and everything. So Britney Spears is nothing more than a manufactured pop creation just to sell records. You know, she has no talent as far as just dancing around, gyrating, and you know, looking good for her fans. But as far as writing songs, she doesn't do that shit, you know. These pop artists, they have so many fucking writers, that's not even funny. I mean, you go into some of these artists, Look how many writers there are per song. It's amazing. And half the music sucks anyway. But the fact that they have to have all these writers write all these gay fucking pop songs it's just beyond me, right? If you have any desire to learn about the Sunset Strip, you know, Hollywood, the rockers in this book, like Tommy Lee, you probably, if you're a big Motley Crue fan, you're probably gonna get a new unwelcoming picture of who Tommy Lee is and what a complete ass he is. But nevertheless, I mean, this is a solid book about rock and roll and what comes with it. Even though this book is about, you know, sex, raunchiness, and the whole scene in Hollywood, there's a lot of emotional baggage that goes along with this book. So it's kind of like a roller coaster ride, if you will. There's a lot of tragedy also. So I won't say that it's all just partying. I mean, there's tragedy. I mean, Bobby Brown, you know, exposes it all in this book. And I will say that I'm glad this book touched on the very tragic incident with Janie and his death. A very good conclusion to this story. So I encourage you to get this book if you have any interest in the Sunset Strip and the hair bands of yesterday. And if you're a fan of Warrant or any of those bands, pick it up. You're gonna love this book. So the link is in the description. This is a 5 out of 5. It's one of the best entertaining books I've read in a long time, besides the one with Michael Sweet. And I don't believe the hardcover Michael Sweet's book is in print right now, but you know, I'm gonna go ahead and put a link to that book also in the description, because I feel it necessary to push that book, because it's an excellent read also. But as far as and you know, thank God that Bobby Brown didn't have anything bad to say about Stryper back in the day, but it doesn't appear that she ran into him. So Stryper is an A-list band that kept clean. So anyway, Bobby Brown's book, Dirty Rocker Boys, a 5 out of 5. Get it, read it, and once you finish it, put a comment in the description if you'd like. Tell me how you liked it. Excellent read. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you in the next review. Adios.